Damn these Biloxi blues, it happens every night.
Every old night.
And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
Nope.
The summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care.
Nope.
No, I don't care. Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a
Right
spare.
to the hook right here.
Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Whoa! Budget Live, the not so live variety from the low budget live bar and grill here in beautiful southern middle Tennessee. And I hope all you low-lifers are doing well out there. This is the podcast for Monday. Yes, we're back on a Monday. Monday, August 19th. And I hope you are all doing well out there. And if you're wondering why I'm calling you a low-lifer, well, that's what the listeners, viewers, the faithful compadres of this program, week in and week out, refer to themselves as. So it's a term of endearment around here, low-lifer. You're now a low-lifer. So welcome. One and all, I am recording this, full disclosure, on a very early Sunday morning, the final day of the Bassmaster Elite Series season, the final day of the Bassmaster Elite Series at the St. Lawrence River. And the reason I'm recording a little early, which I always record on Sundays, but the reason I'm doing this early in the morning is I thought it was the best decision to make, so nothing else happened. that I could report on, that I could talk about, that nothing else. This has been one of the crazier weeks of the entire season, which a lot on the line, lots of pressure building up for everybody, whether it be Angler of the Year race, Rookie of the Year race, trying to win, trying to just survive. So many different things always at the last term of the year. You know, you got guys that are trying to requalify. You got guys that are trying to get in the classic cut. You got, again, people are trying to figure out how they're going to pay to get home. So many things happen. So I just said, you know what? We're not even going to watch Ronnie and Zona and Tommy this morning. We're just going to record a podcast. So here we are. Wow. What a week. First of all, I have to say just thank you. Thank you to Rick Clunn. Such a fixture of I'm 41 years old. I got into tournaments when I was like 11 or 12 with my dad, but Clunn was always his guy, was just, and then that became my guy growing up until, you know, Van Dam's and Iconelli's and so many things as I was growing, and these guys were becoming superstars as I was growing up there. But Rick was always like this, such a fascinating dude to me on so many levels. And I remember like late 90s FLWs, he seemed like he was always around, always in the top 5 in those. And that's really when my fandom like just took off. When Jerry McInnes and Tommy Sanders were doing FLW on ESPN, Rick was just like, he was just the dude. And obviously he had been the dude before that, wins multiple classics. But just always this unique outlook on life. Very just beyond full of wisdom. I've had the opportunity to be around him several times in my life and career, and just always so respectful, such a nice man. And you can see that through the social media posts, man. People love Rick, and we all learn so much from him. Got a win in recent years, really, and I'm misquoting him here, but like, never accept that your best days are behind you. Like, what? Like, just throws that out there on a weigh-in stage. Just the man could write a book. Books, plural, But just, the mental game was always what he worked on the hardest. And dude, he just beat the brakes off of people for so long because of that work ethic, because of his ability to just stay ahead of the curve, I feel like. And then, right up until this week, he made this very just astounding, in my opinion, post about social media, live scope to social media. And it was beautiful. No matter what side of the aisle you're on with live scope, whether you love it, hate it, whatever, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I think that it probably made even the biggest live scope hater's heart go, okay. I see his point there. Interesting human being. I met him right before I started fishing the Bassmaster Opens. I guess I was 19. The first time I jumped in the craziness. And I met him at the Classic. And I know I've told this story on here before in some context, and I've never had Rick on the show. I've never even asked. I've never tried. I've never asked. It's one of those bucket list guests for me, and I will attempt that. And I know he's been on every podcast 15 times, I feel like, but he's never been on this. And for me, it's like it's one of those hero deals that I've never even reached out. I don't know. I can't say why really, but I've never done that. But anyways, I got to meet Rick for the first time. Other than just like getting a hat signed, I've got a couple hats around here from when I was a kid that are just filled up with signatures. And I had met Rick down at Pickwick and at Wheeler and Bassmaster Top 100s and things as a kid, 13, 14, 15. But this, I was fixing to be competing. And he actually fished those events, those first opens that I got in there. And I walked up to him, and it was him and his wife, and they were in the Bass Pro Shops booth at the Birmingham Classic that year. I believe it was the one Jay Ellis won. And I'm just full of piss and vinegar. And obviously, if you keep up with the show very much at all, a lot of my stories in life, they start with me. I'm a talker, right? Obviously. And I'm going to come up and be like, hey, I'm Luke. And I would just walk straight up to him like, hey, I'm Luke Duncan, and I'm going to be a pro fisherman, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm from Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, and I fish Pickwick. And in that, Rick, in the late 90s, maybe early 2001, might have been 2000 actually, won an FLW on Pickwick in this really cool fashion offshore. Before Pickwick was the Pickwick that it is now weight-wise. But, I mean, there's a spot, we call it the Clunn hole, okay? Like it's something he kind of put on the map. And but I'm just diarrhea of the mouth to Rick Clunn. And he puts his hand on my shoulder, and I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, I'm fishing the opens, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. I'm super nervous. And he says, Mr. Duncan, you're going to do great things. You just have to learn how to harness your nervous energy and use it for good. But he said that to me. Dude, it floored me. It's the coolest damn thing that could ever happen. Coolest thing in the world. So, Rick Clunn, thank you for everything, man. Thank you for educating us, entertaining us, teaching us so many things about a bass, and always pushing everybody. I feel like Rick pushed everybody to be better. Over 500 tournaments, 78 years old, 50-year career. And you did kind of get the feeling he's been really active on social this year, he and his wife, and you felt like this might be it, but nobody really wanted to talk about it, I guess. So that's going to open up some things. It's going to open up a legend spot in the Bassmaster Elite Series, but it opens the door for who's next, right? Who's that next legend? Because, we throw that word around a lot, and in the sport we do have several. Obviously you put Van Dam there. He's retired now. Larry Nixon, for the love of God, is way up on that list. The Jimmy Houstons of the world. Roland Martins, building these guys are just Hank Parker. They're synonymous with bass fishing, right? And Rick is, in my opinion, always on that Mount Rushmore. But now the door swings open. We've got a lot of young blood in the sport. We've got a lot of current competing legends as well. Who's the next Clunn? I don't know that there'll ever be another one though. I don't. Not just like Rick. That's for sure. He's a one of one. So that was announced on stage, dude. I got emotional when I saw the clip, I rarely watch weigh-ins, but man, just it hit me like that's the last time. And he says he hates the word retired. He's going to fish some opens and things, but that was his last time on that stage, holding up bat. Like it was crazy. I didn't expect it to hit me that way, but it certainly did. So thank you to Rick Clunn. Thank you to Rick Clunn. Ricky Clunn, as Tommy Sanders and Jerry McKinnis used to call him on FLW. Ricky Clunn. I always loved it. All right, now let's move on. We got the positivity out of the way. Goodness gracious, man. Can we just have an event in professional bass fishing that there's just not some cloud, that there's not some kind of BS after the tournament's over with? And look, being someone on the inside of it, doing this show, having so many friends that are involved, my phone lights up during situations, as you can imagine. And I've said many times, like, I'm not somebody that just blurts things out because I think I'm smart, or I blurt it out because it's like a guess. Like if I say something, you know, it's because I've got a pretty damn direct line to what I'm hearing. Okay. Hell, my wife sat here and said it last week, which thank you for the kind words on that show. We had a great time. She even she went back and watched it. She really enjoyed it. So thank you for the congratulations and the kind words on that episode. That being said, but I try not to talk out of my ass. I know there are lots of people that aren't Luke Duncan fans that think I do, but like if I mention something, right? If I mention something, there's some validity to it. Okay. Understand that. And last week I said polygraphs and certain rookies go together like PB and J. And I said that actually to someone in the comments, and that's been the case this year. There's been a cloud around a couple of guys. And I want to start by saying I'm not taking anything away from anybody's fishing ability or work ethic, okay? Because I think these guys are the real deal. Like, I think they're fantastic anglers. I don't think they're bad people. I think they push the damn envelope too much. And when you do that consistently, you straddle that gray area line, eventually it's going to get you. And we've created, I feel like this, especially with social media, and this is all things in life, but this pressure to always be at the top so you can make the post that you caught the biggest and the best, and the, you know, especially in the fishing world, and you're competing at the highest stage, and you've got support backing you up. So just basically sky's the limit, right? You will do anything. And we've seen that not just in this situation, but we've seen that in the last few years over and over and over and over. A lot of times it gets swept under the rug. It does. It gets swept under the rug. It doesn't get talked about publicly. It makes people uncomfortable. Especially this year, if you're talking about a rookie, you're just a jealous old guy. We saw that with Gerald. Trey McKinney literally broke a rule. Didn't read the rules. St. John's River. Gerald and his marshals see it. Gerald becomes a bad guy to a lot of people because he has to turn him in because he doesn't self-report. It's the same thing at Smith Lake. He had to be told to self-report. He's a young man. Not trying to crucify him. He won Rookie of the Year. Congratulations. I'm just saying mistakes are made when you push the envelope. Okay? And there's been a cloud around those guys this year. There have been. And listen, when Trey won at Fork, I saw unbelievable hate online for a young man. That was ridiculous. Ridiculous. From grown men just laying the wood to it. And I said on this show, like, it's not cool. It's not cool. There's a lot about his situation that I don't understand that gets talked about, that people try to disprove and things. Like, I know his fishing coach. Known him for years. He's got a fishing coach. He's got a fishing coach that was with him in the opens, practicing with him, practicing for him, that fished as a co-angler. Like, that's reality. That's reality that his parents hired. Like, but at the same time, it's within the rules and legal. Now, you can't be with him on the Elite Series, but like, that's reality. Parents that have the means to do so, I've said on many times here, we live in this travel ball society where if little Timmy wants to be the next best thing or whatever, dude, you'll buy the cleats, you'll buy the best gloves, you'll take him to the Atlanta Braves training facility and try to get him in there if that means you think he's got a shot at being the backup catcher on the high school team. Seriously, like, I'm a parent, I get it, okay? We just don't see it a lot in bass fishing. But as this youth movement comes in, we're seeing it more and more and more and more and more. The veterans didn't do it that way for the most part. So they're like, of course they're pissed, right? Like, these guys are coming in and dominating. With this JT Tompkins situation, I like JT. I like his dad. Fished FLW Tour with Timmy. This situation sucks. And here's why. I mentioned it last week. They've been polygraphed. Him and Trey room together. They share information, to my knowledge, allegedly. But they, I think they share a lot of things. They're buds. And they've kind of tag teamed up. They did in the opens, and look where it got them, right? Dangerous little fishermen, obviously. Obviously. Wise beyond their years. Obviously. They spend more time on the water than most. But in this situation, they've been polygraphed this year. They have been. They've been polygraphed this year because there's been a cloud of crap around some events. There just have been. All right. That's legitimate. Like, I ain't like there are people out there that, again, they like to say, well, you're bashing a young guy, this, that, people make mistakes. And they do. They do. I hope these young men learn from the mistakes that they've made. I make them every day. I make mistakes every day. Most of y'all listening to this, watching this, make mistakes every day. But that being said, rules are in place for a reason. Some rules are very hard to police. I think the information rule is that. I think it's very hard to police. I think there are a lot of people that live in the gray area when it comes to information, whether that's BPT, Bassmaster Elite Series, Bassmaster Opens, the NPFL. People are going to do what they can to get an advantage, especially if they think they can get away with it. All right. So the story came up, and this is all alleged. The story came up, what I mentioned last week, that it was, and we recorded in the middle of the week, so their practice was already going on. But I was hearing this from several elite friends of mine that JT had gotten information from someone supposedly on MLF's media team or something along those lines. Now, whether that's why he failed the polygraph or not, he failed the polygraph over 2 questions, getting waypoints. Okay, so he did fail that question. And looking on social media, which they're not allowed to do, again, hard to police. I think that's a dumb rule. Always have. It's a tricky one to police. But looking on social media, photo galleries, video galleries on their website to gain a competitive advantage. That's 2 questions he failed. You can see it in the press release. Okay. Did you get waypoints? However, the question's asked, failed that one and failed. Did you get online to get information? Okay. Those are 2 questions that got him DQ'd. Bass knew about this before the tournament started. So, one, I think it's crappy to let him go be on Bassmaster Live and fish 2 days and then poly him at the end. So I will say that. I think that's stupid. Because I know for a fact they were discussing a polygraph before the tournament started. So I don't understand why you let the kid go out there and then DQ him. Right? Put him on Bass Live first day, the whole 9. So I think that sucks. Knowing that you've got potentially a silver bullet, sounded like. Like they had some information from somebody, and I've heard it's somebody from the MLF side, allegedly. Don't know that. But that's what I've been told. That rolled on them. Okay? That rolled on them. And JT made a video that said didn't do anything wrong. Could have been that he was nervous. Could have been this, could have been that. Not denying that it could have been that. The problem with polygraphs is this, and I've seen JT's family members and comments on posts defending him saying, man, he's passed several polygraphs this year. Well, the problem with that is this is a tale as old as time in bass fishing. If you pass a polygraph and you're accused of doing stuff, right? We saw Corey Johnson earlier this year. Corey. It looked like it looked, whatever. Slick made a video about it. Him snagging bedding fish. He says he didn't see the fish. He says he passed the poly. I'm using that as an example. So you flex. Well, I passed poly. Like if somebody says, Luke Duncan, we know you went to that bank and you knocked that guy in the head and you stole $1 million. We know it, and we're going to let you take a polygraph. Okay, I'm going to take it. I passed it. You'd walk around and go, I passed the polygraph. Passed the polygraph. Well, in a situation, if you brag about passing the polygraphs that you've had to take, and there have been a couple this year, then you say, well, as we all know, they're not admissible in court and they're just not foolproof. And, I was nervous and whatever. Like that, doesn't hold weight to me. Like I call BS on that. Maybe nobody else is going to call BS, but you don't brag about the fact or tell people as a defense mechanism that I passed the polygraph, so I didn't do those things you're all accusing me of that you've been hearing about. And there's been a cloud around this year, and then fail one. Okay. After taking one again, fail one. And then, they're not even admissible in court. They're just not foolproof. You can't have it both ways. That's my point here. That's my point. You can't have it both ways. Now, truth is, only JT ultimately knows what JT did or didn't do this entire season. Okay? Only Trey knows what Trey did or didn't do this entire season. What we know he did, Trey, he won Rookie of the Year and he won a Lake Fork tournament. Congratulations. Now, was there chatter? Was there things around Trey and JT this year? Abso-freaking-lutely. Plenty of it. Has there been chatter around a lot of other anglers over the years, including this? Yep. Will there be next year? Yep. Will there be the year after? Yep. Unfortunately. And a lot of times I've said we cover up the things we should cover in the sport. JT Kinney said that on this show as well. We don't talk about it. A lot of anglers over the years, especially if you're a high profile guy, they've been invincible in my opinion. And I know somebody from a tournament organization will say, that's not true. Well, you know what, man? Yeah, it is. It is. There's been bull crap. I have lived this. I have competed on the FLW Tour. I saw stuff, heard stuff, but literally witnessed things that were ridiculous, that were just allowed because of who somebody was. I saw that myself. Tournament organizations are media machines, whether it's Bass, MPFL, or MLF. They're out here selling advertisement just like the tournament anglers are trying to sell advertisement space, right? Bad press sucks. You don't want to put a press release out that you've been duped by one of your anglers, especially one that you've propped up all year long because he's catching them, right? A potential superstar kind of situation. You don't want to have to make that announcement. I don't care what anybody says from it. Y'all can never speak to me again. I've got a lot of friends at all these organizations. That's just the facts. That's just the fact. That's just what it is. It sucks. Nobody wants to say, well, had the wool pulled over our eyes on this one. Had people jumping up and down about a certain situation all year. And nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to get the I told you so's, right? Nobody wants that. So, phenomenal year by JT. Phenomenal year by all the rookies. I think they all made the Classic. Got a couple wins. It's been an incredible season. That being said, I don't know how this situation will shake out. All I know is the official press release kind of backed up what everybody was hearing. They did get waypoints. He says he didn't do anything for this event, and I hope he's right. I hope he didn't. But, it is what it is. Live and learn. I hope he does learn from it. I hope they all learn from it. that you can be caught doing things. But should he be crucified? No, I don't think so. I'm not, and that's not what this is about. It's not trying to burn the young man to the ground in the least. But gotta be careful with that polygraph situation, though. I'll close this segment with that. Got to be careful with the polygraph situation, because if it is your friend because you passed the polygraph, it can't be your friend when you did something, if you did indeed get caught because you were nervous. Specific, and to me, it's like, and this is Luke's opinion, it screams guilty if the things you're being accused of were the two questions that you passed or you failed on, and then you're like, I was probably nervous. Well, dude, come on, man. I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff and some things and some stuff, man, in my 41 years. So I don't know. Interesting. And speaking of competitive advantages and rookies and things, this is, and we've got a great guest today. I just wanted to throw that out there. I actually recorded with our guest before all this stuff started happening a couple days ago, because it was the only time he had. And looking forward to introducing y'all to somebody here in just a few minutes. But I want to talk about this Chris Johnson. With congratulations on Angler of the Year. Been knowing Chris and Corey a lot of years, and congrats to Chris on that. The move he pulled on Rob G on day 3 sucked. It did. I know he knows that spot. It's their spot, apparently, per a social media video I saw. Dave Mercer interviewing Corey, and Corey was throwing out insults and was going to stomp Rob's ass this morning. I don't think he did, but it was going to do that. Of course, Dave thought that was hilarious. And that ain't it, right? Like, that ain't it. And I will say, the Johnston brothers have fished a lot of major events on that river. They do know it better than anybody. They've exposed every little nook and cranny that they ever had in their hip pocket on live, like they have. But does not give you the excuse, in my opinion, to pull a Jason Lambert, Randy Haynes situation on day 3. It sucked. Chris even turned around the camera and said, boy, Rob's not going to be happy, because he started right on the dot. And I know there's several of them fishing in that area. That sucks. I know that from what I've heard, I didn't get to see all of it, that Rob then went and got Trey McKinney. Rob was upset. Come throw right over here on his line. They kind of ganged up on, like, I don't know what I would have done in the situation. I will say this. Knowing Chris and Corey, obviously Corey very angry in his video with Old Facts of Fishing himself this morning. If somebody would have done that to them, I can't even imagine. At least chatter, at least a bunch of talk. But I'm just saying, like, if a veteran was sitting there and a rookie pulled it, like, dude, that's a whole different situation. It just is. It is. So it sucked. Chris did what he does on that river, and he caught almost 30 pounds of smallmouth, which is freaking incredible. Watching him fish for smallmouth always just blows me away. It does. He's amazing. Can't take that away from him. But that situation sucks. It sucks. Corey running his mouth sucks. Like that's what we're come to. Whatever. Like, it's dumb. It's dumb. I will say those kind of incidents happen so much more than the general public ever know. So much more. I mean, but they happen between the dude in 70th and 59th, just as much as they do between the leaders. Like, it just does. It happens all the time on the water. Again, a lot of pressure, a lot at stake, last tournament, those kind of things happen. But I don't think, and like Corey's video this morning with Dave that I just had sent to me, he was pissed because Robert was pissed, Rob G, over fishing their spot. Well, okay. Like, I don't know. And again, I like those boys. I've known them a lot of years. I've also known, when I fished FL, they're known for being aggressive, both of them. Like, they're Tasmanian devils, dude. Like, they are. Like, they want to be somewhere. They're going to try to be somewhere to fish. Like, they're not going to watch you from 300 yards away. Like, I've seen it. Like, that's their reputation. Not saying it makes them bad guys. Not saying I don't like them, because I do like the Johnston brothers. I've always been friendly with those guys. But that being said, like, they're intense. They are very intense. And if they want to be somewhere, that's where they're going to fish. And you hear that a lot over the years. You got to see it on national television. There you go. You know, it again, she was on the other foot, been a completely different situation. It just would have been. So, that being said, not taking anything away from Chris's Angler of the Year, because that is amazing. One of the toughest things to win. And he's a legend. Like, he is. He's a legend. Him and Corey both are fantastic. The fact that they fished 1 and 3 in the Bassmaster Angler of the Year standing, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, that's impressive. It's very impressive. But, you know, I think that I've seen people giving Rob G, like, grown adult men, which is funny to have to say, typing on their keyboards, on their phones, whatever, on Facebook, like, I hope you get what you deserve for how you reacted to Chris today. Like, come on, dude. Come on. Again, it's like JT. I'm not going to, or Trey or whoever, like, I'm not going to back over these dudes with the bus and condemn them for their freaking kids. Rob graduated from the University of Tennessee last May. Like, come on, man. I'm not saying it gives him an excuse to act, bring in Trey or whatever people are upset about, but, like, he's a kid. Like, Chris Johnson has kids. Corey has kids. They're fathers. Like, they're adults here. Like, maybe if you're an adult on Facebook, you don't have animosity towards someone like a Rob G or a JT Tompkins or a Trey McKinney, based on whatever. Like, I don't know. We live in weird times, man. We live in weird times. But I do think that the day 3 move was a prick move. I do. I don't care if you've known it since you were in the 3rd grade, and they have, because they've spent numerous days on that river. I thought it sucked. I did think it sucked. And I'm a big Rob G fan. Let it be known. Like, I'm a big Rob G fan. Good kid. Good kid. Good family, good kid. Chris and Corey, good dudes with good family too. I mean, gets heated on the water. I talked to Rob a little bit after, and, like, I don't think it was that heated once they kind of got back and settled and whatever. And then, it's something. It's something. But again, this kind of crap goes on all the time. It was very reminiscent of Lambert and Haynes, except Rob G didn't, I'm going to the damn house it. He said, I'm going to get Trey McKinney. I'm doing this for America. And as I sit here today, I do have to say, I hope that he has a great event. He barely missed winning Champlain, because I think it would be funny if Dave Mercer had to say the first Tennessean to win on the St. Lawrence River. Because we all know who Dave pulls for endlessly. Very obvious. Very obvious. All right. Also, one other quick thing. Jacob Fouts, congrats, dude. Thought he was going to win AOI after last year, making the videos he did, getting criticized by myself and others on his approach to all that. Just it was literally show up, shut up, and do work. And he did it, man. He did it. And almost won Angler of the Year. Congrats, dude. Congrats. I was pulling for you down the stretch to win that. I really was. It would have been just an exclamation point on a fantastic season. So congrats to Jacob Fouts on that. Real quick, let's thank some sponsors, and then we're going to get into a guest that is somebody that I look forward to talking to for a while, and we finally made it happen. Gill Fishing. Gill Fishing wants to give you a gift. GillFishing.com. You can use code LBLGIFT at GillFishing.com. And right now, if you spend $75, they're going to send you a UV Tech sun hat. It's August. It's hot in most of the country. UV Tech sun hat for using code LBLGIFT and spending $75 at GillFishing.com. Pro Guide Batteries, ProGuideBatteries.com. LBL10 is going to save you money there on the best lithium batteries in the game, the best AGM batteries in the game. They got their new battery chargers they've rolled out that are fantastic, cutting edge technology with those. But trust somebody that's been in the battery industry for many, many, many moons. ProGuyBatteries.com is where you can find them, LBL10. And last but not least today, hang the banner. Express Boats, that all welded aluminum bass fishing beast. That is the X21 Pro LE. That's what I'm running this year. They got the X19. They got the H series. Don't forget about those 17, 18. They got a 20 now, the H20 rated for a 175 Yamaha show. They're Yamaha exclusive over there at Express Boats. And why would you want anything else? Show pushing those things absolutely up and down the lake. Amazing hole shot, best hole shot in the game, in my opinion. Top end, great. But they've got choices over there. If you're in the market for a new boat, check them out. Go get on their website. Find a dealer near you. Boat show season, not far away. Go kick some tires at a boat show. Interest rates are coming down, man. That's the word. That's the word. Express Boats, building excitement since 1966. All right. We're going to get this man on that old Eagle Claw hotline. Actually, a video conversation for the first time. Finally got some Wi-Fi cleared up for the time being out here in the bar and grill. This man comes in at 6'7". This is what he's listed at. 6'7", 320 pounds. He plays right tackle for them old University of Tennessee Volunteers. This old boy right here loves bass fishing through and through. We got connected via social media earlier this year. Been keeping up with him. He's in his 6th year. He's a 6-year senior playing in his final season in the SEC for the Tennessee Volunteers. Their season kicks off August 31st against UT Chattanooga at home in Knoxville. If you are a football fan, if you are a bass fishing fan, I hope you enjoy this right here. Ladies and gentlemen, go Big Orange, Dayne Davis. All right, as promised, here he is, Mr. Dayne Davis himself. We've been working on trying to put one of these together with Mr. Davis for a little bit, and right here at football season, right before it starts, before the kickoff, I'm like, you know what, we gotta talk to the old boy himself. Welcome to Low Budget Live.
Hey, thanks for having me,
man. I think we got hooked up because you started following Southern Boating Supply. I'm like, oh man, I obviously recognize the name, being a Tennessee Vol for life myself. I keep up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, and we communicated back and forth. But man, I'm always fascinated by guys like yourself that are in these incredibly intense positions in life. Like playing SEC college football is, I mean, it's a dream come true, obviously, but there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. And then when I slide over to your Instagram and I see you holding a smallmouth, or I see you holding a largemouth, I'm like, all right, these are my people. Because, man, fishing is a small community. It seems big, but it is a small community. It's always so cool to see somebody that you respect in a sport, or, you know, a country music singer, a celebrity, so to speak, loving what we all love so much, man. So that I was like, man, we got to get Dayne on here and talk about all kinds of things. So first things first, you being a Tennessee boy playing for the Tennessee Vols, obviously a dream come true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, growing up, Tennessee fan, first outfit, Tennessee onesie as a kid. That's what my dad tells me and shows me pictures of. But, man, going to a ton of games, always being a Vol fan, was always a dream for me, and what my aspirations led me to push to. So, you know, that came true. And there in 2019 and really 2018, I started out as a preferred walk-on here under Coach Jeremy Pruitt. Mm-hmm. Played under him in 19 and 20. Then 2 weeks before he got fired, he put me on scholarship. And then Coach Heupel upheld it. And then just been rocking ever since, going into my 6th year now, feeling like an old man.
Well, I know you had the option to leave, you know, being a 6-year senior, and I made the announcement back in January to come back. Is that a testament to what we're kind of feeling? And I apologize. I'm going to stop right there. I apologize to any non-Tennessee fans but sorry, but I'm not sorry. But there's a little bit of energy this year, right? Like, and for the last few years, I feel like, but you got the baseball team doing things, basketball team doing things, the football team's been on fire. But it seems like this year there's a lot of energy. Does that factor into your decision? You know what? I want one more run at this thing.
Yeah, certainly. Our goal every year, and I'm sure every other SEC team says this, is to win a SEC championship and then win the national championship. And having not done that yet, obviously there's still room left to go out and take what we want. So, there's a lot of excitement there this year. Got a lot of old experience returning back on the O-line. Got Nico, young star there at quarterback. Got a star in Dylan Sampson at running back. We've got stars all over the field on defense, man. For a Vol fan, it should be very exciting this year. So now I guess 14, 15 days away.
We're getting there.
It'll be here in a snap of a finger. So
I saw kickoff time for that first game against UT Chattanooga is at 11:45, August 31st. You boys are going to be hot. I'm just going to say, I know you're tougher than the average Bear, but that's not going to be a fun kickoff time at Neyland.
Yeah, no doubt. No. Low budget live exclusive, I guess. You didn't hear it from me, but I'm going to be in the Grays too, so that'll be hot.
Oh, man, listen. My 16-year-old, when he watches this, you just made his life complete because he thinks the Smoky Grays are the greatest thing ever. And when the Southern boating colors are kind of smoky gray and orange a little bit. That's what we like. That's awesome, man. I love all the energy that's coming out of there these days, and been a Tennessee fan my whole life. I'll never forget watching the national championship game with my dad, from here on the couch. Obviously we weren't out there in Arizona, but just grew up a Vol fan, man. And to see where it's at now, especially where social media has changed so many things, but gosh, the hype reels that they put out, it's got to get you guys fired up, man, on game day. The stuff that social media team puts out and keeps the fans connected with everything going on. It's so much fun right now, I feel like, especially, again, the baseball team. That was so much fun. I know you guys, like, campus has got to be the entire city of Knoxville has probably been very electric this year.
No doubt. It has been. Just seeing those guys go out and get what they wanted, and, all the excitement around the university and baseball leading right into football, it is a lot of momentum for everybody here on campus, the university, us as a football team, all the sports here involved. So it's been really great to see, and I look forward to carrying that momentum forward.
No doubt. You're saying SEC championship. I mean, obviously every SEC team, when they line up, there might be a couple of them that don't talk about it very much. We SEC championship. We won't throw any names out there. I won't put you on the spot. But with this realignment deal, I mean, the East and West is gone. It's the best two teams. Is there any – I mean, you guys discuss that? Does it have a different feel? Because, I mean, again, 6 years in the SEC going into this season, does it have a different feel? I mean, you're traveling to Oklahoma. They're now an SEC team, which is weird for me to even say, to be honest. So with the realignment, the schedule's a little different. We still got our normal. We're going to play Bama. We're going to play Georgia. We're going to play Florida. But it has a little different feel for me as a fan. Does it for you guys at all?
I wouldn't say it really has a different feel. The only feel personally that I've really, entailed to now is a schedule change going from 1 bye week to 2. As a player, that makes your season a lot longer. Obviously, you have more time there in the season to recover. But the way I look at it, the SEC's put up or shut up, man. It's you win or you don't, and I think that's what makes SEC so good. Is your record says who you are, and you can't really prove anything else about it. So, especially going to 12-team playoff now, you're going to have all the conference champions, and then it's going to be left to scrap after that. So, that makes the SEC even more competitive. You win it or you don't, and if you don't, you only got hopes after that. But one thing, we've stressed in the off seasons to be a team every week that expects to win, not hoping or believing, but going into the stadium wherever we're at, whether it's Norman, Oklahoma, whether it's here in Knoxville at Neyland, or if it's, in Nashville at Vanderbilt, it's expecting to win. And that's the only thing we're looking forward to, is to be +1 on the scoreboard at the end of the day.
I love it, man. I love it. I know y'all been working hard. I've been seeing all the clips and keeping up. You said fall practice is winding down, and this is kind of that final push, right?
Mm-hmm. No doubt, yeah. Fall camp, obviously, it's the longest time of the year. No fishing for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're 12 practices into it now, so we got 3 more here to finish up. Got a lot of room to improve for everybody, so I'm going to take advantage of these last 3 fall camp practices, getting better as a team all around, and then get into game week ready for UT Chattanooga here in 2 weeks.
In a hot one for sure. So let's talk fishing, man. Obviously, fishing podcast, we talk about all kind of craziness on here, but where did you mentioned your dad telling you had a Tennessee onesie with some of the first clothing that you ever wore there, but being an East Tennessee guy, obviously it's a huge fishing area, man. There's as many bass fishermen up there. Where I live, there's a ton. I always joke that when you're born, you get a bass boat basically down here on the Tennessee-Alabama line, and it's very similar in East Tennessee. But has that something that been a passion of yours your entire life? Did you get that from your dad, from your family, or was that something that you came to find later in life?
No, I mean that's a passion I've had since I've probably been 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
There's a park up here in Bristol, Tennessee called Still Creek Park, and me and my mom and my dad would always go up there. And when I really got started into fishing, we were carp fishing at pay ponds.
Okay.
So we were doing these little night pay pond tournaments, and they would pay every hour for biggest fish, smallest fish, and all that. So it's super fun to go up there, and it was like 7 to 1 a.m. or 6 to midnight. Whatever they rolled like a little lottery wheel to see who got to pick their spots first on the deeper, shallower side of the pond or whatever. And it's super cool. It's not any longer in working order. They don't do them anymore. I know they've got some in North Carolina.
I was going to say, I do know some guys that do it in North Carolina. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. I think one's called Big Ivy. I'm pretty sure. And me and my dad have been talking about on and off wanting to go up there and do one of them just to rekindle those old memories of pay pond carp fishing. But
that's awesome.
I would say that's what really, obviously I fished before that, but what really got me into fishing, going to Steel Creek with mom and dad, catching bluegill, catching bass, catching carp, catching the whole nine, really, just anything we could get a hook in. And then bass fishing really kicked off for me in middle school. My dad was able to get a really good deal on a javelin. We got a little 18-foot javelin.
Yeah.
The very first time we took it out, he caught a 5.5-pound smallmouth on a rooster tail, just out of, nothing anybody would ever think of, and just threw it next to a log and fought it for 8-10 minutes. And that was the history of that. That javelin caught a lot of big fish, man. You ain't got to have a Skeeter or a brand new Icon or anything to catch big fish. That's for sure. Sound like a lot of those old guys like, you don't need that brand new boat catching fish.
Get rid of the live scopes.
Get rid of the live scope.
No, man, I've always said, and look, I'm fortunate to, I love my boat. I love having all the cool gadgets, but there's something that I've always said that if it floats, man, if it gets you from point A to point B, if it floats, if you got a trolling motor, guess what? You're good. You're cooking. You can do something, right? Like you might not be competing in the Bassmaster Classic with all those guys, but I promise you,
know where the fish are at with the trolling motor.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you can get a bite, right? Like that's what I always say in this new time, all this crazy technology, people do feel left out. I think at times because it's so expensive. I'm like, look, man, if you're not into that or you can't do it, guess what? You can still go catch a bass. That's fine. Just go fish the way. Go burn down the bank with a spinnerbait if that's what you're into. You'll get a bite. Eventually, you will get a bite. Go be out there. So, man, I love that. Javelin, the craziest thing, and I think a lot of people, maybe don't realize, but javelin, that was an Earl Bent's boat. Earl that he had Stratus, Hydrosport, Triton, and then ultimately Camus now is an Earl Bent's boat. Earl Bent's owned and designed, and Camus was actually the hull was really designed off of a javelin.
Really?
It was, sure. Yeah, sure was. Yeah, that's just a little boat nerd stuff.
So to carry on the story about my fishing experience was getting into high school, I had one friend that I fished a lot with, and we had a couple other buddies in high school that fished a lot too. And we came up with our workshop teacher and was like, hey, we need to start a bass fishing team around here. Brad Burkhart was the pro at the Sevierville Bass Pro shops then.
Yep.
He was doing the Sevierville Bass Pro high school trail. And they were fishing Loudon, Norris, Douglas, all Cherokee, those lakes. And I was like, man, we need a high school bass fishing team here. So we all got that organized, and we got jerseys. Watkins Marine up there in Bluff City was one of our sponsors, and we had a lot of other stuff we threw on there. And it was just a really fun time. And, like I said, and we were always in contention. There was 2 teams from our high school in the top 10 every tournament.
That's awesome.
And it was super fun. Just being able to start that. The team's still going at the high school. There's still kids fishing in it. And then fast forward past high school, me and Dad got into a Ranger. You talk about having a trolling motor or an older boat or anything. You have that. You do have that itch to kind of go get a bigger, better new boat.
Oh yeah,
that's what we've experienced a lot lately. 4-stroke, bigger grass, MBT Marine, whatever you want. Power poles, the whole 9. You can list it all. But we're in a Ranger Z20 now.
Okay.
I got it wrapped through NIL, so that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Able to access that. So now I fish the Morristown Marine Trail with a good buddy of mine, Hunter Hess. He watches your podcast a lot too.
Yeah, I've seen Hunter's name a lot over the years. Yeah.
So me and him fished the Morristown Marine Trail. Did not do too hot this year, that's to say the least. But football doesn't allow you much practice time, much less a 5-day a week, 40-hour job. So.
I was gonna say, how do you go in to try to prepare for a tournament? You're like, I probably need to be learning all these plays. I'm sure it changes a lot in the hypo offense. You've got a lot going through that brain, Dayne. I'm sure that going to the getting 2 or 3 days to pre-fish is probably not easy.
No, it's not. If you get 2 or 3 hours to pre-fish, you're pretty lucky.
Yeah.
With one schedule. No, I remember. So for the first tournament this year, 2024 Morristown Trail, I ended up getting out of workouts early on a Friday, and it was raining that day. And I was like, man, do I really want to go pre-fish? I don't want to stand in this rain. It's cold. I was like, man, I pretty much already know what we're going to be doing. We're going to be dropping or, doing something, finding fish with the scope. And, I called Hunter and I was like, hey, get off work at lunch, come down here to Cherokee. So he brought the boat from the house to Cherokee. Then we pre-fish for 4 or 5 hours till it's dark. Don't catch a lick. Go home, wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, come back out, fish the tournament. We don't catch fish till 2:30. So it was a little rough, but it's a camaraderie a lot for fishing and me. Being around a lot of guys, like you said, it's a very tight-knit community, especially here in Upper East Tennessee. Everybody knows everybody. A lot of guys know, like, hey, that guy loves to fish this. This guy loves to throw a deep plug. This guy loves throwing an A-rig. This guy loves a worm. But it's a really tight-knit community, and everybody's there to back each other, and everybody fishes the same tournament. So it's camaraderie a lot around here for me to be around those guys, fish with those guys, stay in touch with all those people. So that's you talk about the stress in SEC football. There is a ton, obviously we're still young adults, 23, 19, 21 years old, playing in front of 100,000 people any given weekend in the fall. That's nothing but stress and anxiety. So, fishing for me in the off season is a big, stress reliever, anxiety reliever, just to get my mind off stuff. So that's why I love fishing, but, also just going out there, putting the line in the water and waiting until something tugs on it too. So,
man, how I know you're from East Tennessee? I know, obviously besides the fact that it's documented that you are, You called a crankbait a plug, son. You said a deep plug. I said that boy's from East Tennessee. I know, like that is East Tennessee. I call it a plug. I have my whole life, but I've hung out with so many of my East Tennessee heathen buddies like Wesley Strader and Brad Knight for so many years. That, it's a plug. Ott Defo, it's a plug. It ain't a crankbait. It's a plug, son. Yeah. That's how I said. I know my man's he's in East Tennessee for sure. Yeah, I love it, dude. I apologize. I didn't realize that you. I was going to ask that when you're talking about the carp tournaments. I'm like, well, did that transition into bass tournaments? So you kind of you answered that for me. That's amazing, because I did have a question. If you were fishing a tournament and you had to pick someone from the team, do you have somebody on the team that you would line up with at for a Morristown Marine tournament? All right, you got to pick one guy. Do you have or coach? Do you have somebody you would pick and go with you, or you're going to go back to Hunter?
It would either be Solo or Hunter, but if I was force fed to pick somebody from the team, it'd probably have to be Gaston Moore.
Okay.
Jackson Lampley's not too bad. Both of them are more experienced in saltwater, though. Okay. Jackson loves shooting from Big Tarpon, and Gaston's from Hilton Head, so that's all he's ever known his whole life is saltwater.
So you're telling me out of that entire roster that there's not another, like you're the only bass fishing nut on the whole thing team?
I mean, there's guys that like to bass fish. I wouldn't say that any of them tournaments like I do.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I would say there's zero others.
So you're the lone wolf then, man.
Lone wolf.
Oh, I love it. So during the season, though, other than off weeks, you don't get you're not getting a Tuesday afternoon to slide out to Cherokee and chase smallmouth.
No, absolutely not. Our schedule, especially with school now, pushing towards my master's degree, I'll have that this December. So
congrats, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it. But we practice in the mornings from 8 to noon with meetings or whatever. And then we have a little 2-3 hour break. And then we come back for more meetings in the evening. And then I've got night classes is the worst part of it, from 5:30 to 8:30 with my grad school. So that's a real kicker there.
So what's the degree in? What's your master's going to be in?
Getting my master's in human resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've come to find out that I might not have the attitude or the persona to work in human resources.
Listen, obviously, if you listen to the show very much, I can get rowdy at times, Dayne. And if a 6'7", 320 HR manager walked up to me, I'd probably straighten up and fly, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'd tighten up a little bit. Yeah, here comes Dayne, the HR manager. I'm like, all right, man, I'm good. No, I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry. I'll put some money in a swear jar.
Yeah. No, I'll probably stay in supply chain or some other business form.
Okay. I was going to ask, so once this winds down, do you have that? Because I've seen it, man. I've seen it, with a lot of athletes I know. It seems like because of those competitive juices never go away, whether it be baseball, and I've got friends that have, left the NFL. Dude, fishing and tournaments in general seem to be where a lot of folks head, even if it's not to try at a professional level, but just to stay competitive. Is that something that you always want to, do you want to pursue it at a bigger level, or do you want to, stick with the Morristown Marine type stuff? Like, where do you see fishing in your future?
No, for me, it'll probably be the Morristown Marine level. Fishing with my dad, fishing with friends, fishing with my kids one day. Unless I get on a big string of knowledge here in the next couple of years, I doubt pro fishing is in my forecast. So, well, man,
here's the deal. All you do, if you read Facebook comments, Dayne, all you got to do is have live scope and they jump in the boat.
Yeah. Live scope is cheating. Live scope is cheating.
That's Facebook. All it is. In our former Vol, Rob G, he did actually have one jump in the boat at Lake Champlain during the Bassmaster last week that he just barely missed when he did. Had it hooked up, and it jumped. When it jumped, it landed on the front deck like a 4-pound smallmouth. Yeah, it was one of the craziest clips. But Rob was a Vol, graduated, I guess, last year. 3 top 10s this year in the Elite Series, man. Mm-hmm. He's been crushing it. And right now, as we're recording this, their final event of the year is going on, and he's tied for the lead.
I saw he's been killing the smallmouth. But he shops a lot up here at McKee Outdoors.
Yep. Shout out Matt McKee.
Yeah, shout out Matt McKee. So I've been up there several times up here at the East Tennessee Bass Fishing Show.
Yeah.
Talked to him a lot, Matt McKee. Super cool dude, super nice guy.
What a store too, dude.
Oh, dude, massive. Has everything you can think of. Has everything you can think of.
That place is a gym.
It's out there by itself too.
Yeah, such a cool place. So in your fishing, what type fishing do you like the most? I mean, do you have like one go-to thing you like to do, or do you try to be versatile? What's like if you've got your dream day on the water, you're trying to relieve stress from football, what are you going to do? Like, are you targeting smallmouth, largemouth, and what technique?
Well, around here, obviously you have one that you wish you could do every day. Smallmouth back home on South Holston Lake, the big bite for everybody every year is a smallmouth spawn on a little green worm. And then that's April, anytime there in that span for smallmouth spawn, we're throwing a 4 1/4 inch green worm on a Texas rig and whacking them on slate rock. So that's always super fun. This year I busted a big bag of largemouth, 1728, I think it was, or something. That might not be big to a lot of people, but it's big to me. No pro fisherman here.
It's big to me.
Yeah, but we caught that on a white frog early summer this year. That was super cool.
That didn't suck.
First cast I got out there was a 440, and I was like, yeah, I'm not catching another one the rest of the day. Well, next cast, picked the backlash out, threw right back into the same bush, 380, comes back out of there. So I was like, well, this might be a pretty good day.
I love it.
We ended up, it got hot, frog bite went away, went and caught 3 more on a spinnerbait. So that was a super fun day, this summer. The few days I did get to go out, that was one of them. And then, the smallmouth fishing in the winter around here is super cool too. Nathan Light and the tight line, the little gold minnow, that's a big thing around here on Cherokee, Holston, all around. Tight lining in the winter, super fun when you get on a big bunch of them. And then you go up to Watauga Lake, which in my personal opinion, I think the next Tennessee smallmouth record will be coming out of Watauga Lake.
I hear that a lot. I've never been on it, man. I've got to do it.
It's a smasher, man. We go up there and throw glide baits a lot, and me and Hunter a lot, and they've got a lot of points. We drop on, drop shot in a little minnow, doing anything really. Tons of big largemouth, big smallmouth, a lot of lay down trees, buck brush. I mean, just the whole nine. You want to fish it. Docks galore. It's just a super fun lake to fish when they're on it.
I hear a lot of good things about that. In East Tennessee, man, there's so many gyms up there. Like I love Norris. I love Cherokee. I've had the pleasure of fishing those. Maybe not Tellico as much, but Loudon Tellico can get a little grimy, as we've seen in the classics and other tournaments. But I do. Cherokee's probably my favorite up there, I would say. I've been on Douglas a few times. I've never fished Holston, though. I'll tell that on myself. Never fished Holston. That's always been a bucket list for me. Trip. And then Watauga I've never fished. What's the other one up there? Is it Melton Hill up there too?
Melton Hill's in Nashville.
No, that's right. That's outside of Nashville. There's one more I'm missing up there though. I think
you got Watauga, Boone, and South Holston are the ones.
Boone. Yeah.
Boone. So Boone was down for a while. They were doing repairs on the dam for I don't know how many years, and it was down at river level. They just filled it back up here probably in the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. But that's where I was talking about the white frog, big largemouth bag I had. Okay. So a lot of brush had grown up on the banks on Boone where, the water just hadn't been in it. And they cut a ton of it out just, for boat safety, but they left a lot of good vegetation and brush that had grown up. So a lot of the cliff walls and, big banks and stuff out on the main lake are nothing but brush for the first 50 feet out, and they're all in it, dude. I mean, they're everywhere. It's made the lake fun again. So they just stocked 50,000 F1s in it 2 years ago. And I think they stocked another 50,000 F1s in it this year. So it might be might be time to come up and fish Boone here in a couple years for sure.
I might need to edit that part out so that don't get out on the interwebs, buddy. That sounds like some juicy.
Yeah, it's a really fun lake, and I think it's not going to do anything but get better. It's a really good night fishing lake. A lot of people love to go out there and night fish.
Well, that's an East Tennessee thing, which they do it down here too. But that's wintertime fishing. I would put wintertime fishing and night fishing as East Tennessee staples, right? Like that's definitely an East Tennessee thing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in the summer you have so many wake boats, pontoons, party boats, especially on Boone. Like it gets wicked. I mean, it's near impossible to fish. You're out on the main lake hitting 5-foot rollers and bouncing your head every which way, and you get in the back of a cove and it's nothing but 8 Malibus tied up together, and you're like, man, where am I going to fish?
You're at a severe disadvantage up there though, because they build all of them right there too. All the boat plant, the Malibus and the Mastercrafts, they're all built right there outside of Knoxville. So that's your guard dog you showed me before before the show. Which might have been a full-size dog, but you picking it up, I'll be honest, it looked really small.
No, it's not a full-size dog. It's a little Chihuahua. So.
Could have been a 100-pound lab in the hands of the O-lineman there.
Watch, you're gonna have some comments now. This big O-lineman's got a little Chihuahua. What?
Hey, he said it's his ladies, so y'all back up.
Ladies.
It's his ladies. Yeah, y'all back up. Yeah, y'all
then
back.
She's gonna get mad at me. She'll be upset with me for saying it's hers and not ours. So better watch out for that. You know?
I'll bleep it out.
Yeah.
He said, well, then it sounds like you're cussing the dog, so that wouldn't be would be very good, I guess, at all. All right, so in the SAC, you've talked about the intensity and playing in front of 100,000. My goodness, I can't imagine. I've been to so many games at Neyland in my lifetime, but just the roar of the crowd when you guys run through the tee, I know that's got to be incredible. But let's talk about rival stadiums or other SEC stadiums. Do you have one that you enjoy playing in, and do you have one that you don't like playing in, either because of maybe it's a little rowdy with fans or just the overall intimidation maybe factor that comes with it? Is there a place that so do you have an opposing stadium that you're like, oh, this is cool, and do you have one that you don't like?
I don't know that intimidating is a word.
Yeah, probably not the right word. I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I wasn't saying it that way. There's one that always comes to mind that is no doubt about it, always going to be the last one. That's Florida.
Really?
The rival stadium, the stands, the student sections right behind the visitors bench. I could do this right here and be close enough to touch somebody, and it's ridiculously close. It's a cool stadium. Obviously, I haven't had the best of luck playing there, for sure. Wasn't able to win in my career there. But that's the loudest stadium I think I've played in for SEC rivals. Just talking about Georgia, Bama, Kentucky, or Georgia, Kentucky, Georgia, Bama, Florida.
Kentucky plays at Kroger Field, Dayne. Come on, Kroger Field. We got a lot of Kentucky fans that listen to the show that I'm friends with, and they play at Kroger Field. We're not worried about Kroger Field.
Yeah, no Kroger Field around here. Publix Field, if anything, right?
Yes, Foodland, dude, Foodland.
But no, Florida is probably the loudest one I've played in. Georgia got really loud when we went down there in 22, number 1 versus 3
with Hendon. That
game was super loud. A little story about that game. It was first quarter. We were backed up like our own 1 yard line. Had to punt, and I was on the punt block shield, the little 3-man shield in between the line and the punter. Well, I'm standing 4 yards deep in the end zone, and I'm like, man, this can go one of two ways: really good or really bad. And the crowd is just going insane. I think it's like 7-0 at this point, or 7-3 or something. They're about to get the ball back. So the crowd's just tip top, just as loud as they could be. and I'm on this punt block shield, and I'm like, man, get this ball out of here. Get this ball out of here. There's like 9 guys lined up right here in front of me. I can only block a couple of them. And we end up getting out of there, and punter fair caught it, or we kicked it out of bounds, one of the two. But that was one of the super loud moments I've had playing against rivals. You know, in the SEC, everybody's really a rival with everybody. There's no you know, it's like, you know, obviously Florida has Georgia, Bama has Auburn. You know, we have all of the above.
I was going to say we hate everybody, and everybody hates us, buddy.
Tennessee was, you know, so good for such a long time. I think that's what plays into, you know, everybody hating Tennessee. And obviously, you know, we're getting back to where we were, and that's where we're trying to accomplish this year. And, you know, getting back to that state where Tennessee's the team that's got the target on the back, and, you know, that's what we want to be. So, but yeah, rivalries, man, is unprecedented in the SEC, in my opinion. So
it's insane. And man, people show up and show out. No matter who you're a fan for, you're going to play. When you guys play an away game or you're playing a home game, fans show up. They're going to be loud. They're going to be rowdy every single time. I am surprised. I mean, and I know Florida fans are just rabid, just like Tennessee fans are, and every other fan base. I am surprised that to hear that Florida's the loudest. And I know they get crazy, but I'm surprised, because I honestly, I figured you would say Bama, because it's wild, especially night games at Bama, I feel like are crazy. Yeah. And then Georgia, it's so funny you mentioned that Georgia game in particular, because watching that game, because we scored first play, right? That was one we like busted.
No, we drove down. So Georgia this year was when we busted the big run.
That's right. That's right.
I started at right tackle on that game. I got another story for that. But so the Georgia 22 game, I think we drove down the first drive, kicked a field goal, started out 3-0. Then didn't have much success after that. You know, just the loudness of the stadium, like,
yes,
that's home field advantage is such a big factor in the SEC. All the stadiums, you know, you say all, but not really all. You know, all your bigger programs, like, having a home field advantage is a big factor in the SEC, man. And you know, that's a vow to our fans. You know, showing up every Saturday, packing at 102,000 deep and screaming their lungs out till the clock strikes 0. That's a huge advantage for our defense. It's a huge advantage for us on offense, you know. So, you know, just having to – and about Alabama, it's like their stadium, it's not straight up. Like, Florida starts right at the bench and maybe goes out for a few and then goes straight up. I mean, straight up. And so all that sound, you know, like Tennessee, we're not out and up. We're, you know, pretty good angle the whole way. And that sound just gets trapped in there, and you can't get out. It just echoes off each other and the stadium and whatnot. And the thing about Alabama Stadium is it's a pretty new stadium compared to others in the SEC. When they built it, they went super flat for a while in the low bowl and then started gradually going up, you know, whether that was due to structural design or whatever, who knows. But the noise does not get trapped in there as bad. And I don't think their fans are super loud. You know, obviously they've been –
just because they win all the damn time.
I mean,
they don't have to be loud.
You win as much as they did in the last several years. You know, it's probably a thing to come to the game. You don't think you have to yell to win. So
let me ask you that. How has that been? I mean, obviously Saban's the GOAT, right? I mean, I'll give him his credit as a Tennessee fan. Obviously it's hard to knock him, but has that been weird thinking about, man, when they come to town this year, Nick ain't the guy. Like, he's not going to be there. And their coach now, I mean, they're going to be good. They're obviously, but is that strange that he's no longer in the game?
You know, I haven't really thought about it much. Alabama's Alabama. You know, we have to play them every year, and it goes back to what I said about the SEC. It's either put up or shut up, especially
that's
now
right.
It's the 12 team. So, you know, they'll probably be good. Obviously, the board took Washington to
no doubt
this year, so they'll be pretty good, and you know, we're going to be good too. So whoever brings the best hand forward, on that third Saturday in October is going to walk home with the W. So
that crowd noise in that 22 game had to play such a huge role, though, right? You know what I mean? You're talking about that home field advantage. When the momentum is on the home team side and you have just a crazy crowd like we do and other SEC teams, it does play. Man, I can't imagine trying to come from behind in that environment. Like I just can't. I can't wrap my head around it. And like you talking about Georgia, you're like trying to focus on your job. All right, I got to block these guys, and in that end zone, you're right there on them, and they're just in your face, giving you all you can, and right behind you, giving you all you can handle.
Yeah.
They've been drinking for hours.
That's what makes it. That's what makes it even more intensified. We went to LSU in 22.
Yes, sir.
Right before we played Alabama, and got a noon kickoff, and we were like, "Yep, that's wraps.
That's a wrap." Golly.
So we went there. They were. I mean, stadium was packed. And then before you know it, it's 35-0, 35-7, whatever it was. And
it got unpacked very fast that morning, sir. So I remember that one.
that was a super fun memory I'll have too, for sure. Playing at LSU, that was super cool, seeing their stadium, huge stadium. Playing there, winning like we did, super fun.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite games of the last few years. That one was definitely a fun one. Do you have any games circled? I mean, obviously, I know it's 1 week at a time. Do you have any games circled this year you're looking forward to? You looking forward to Bama coming back? Are you looking forward to going and playing at a stadium like out in Norman for Oklahoma? Like, do you do that personally, or do you just kind of take it a week at a time?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, and
past anybody, obviously.
Yeah, like anybody says, I do try to take it week by week. I've had experiences where I've been looking forward to other games, and then you don't perform as well in the game you have coming up. So you always got to be where your feet are at. But just talking about it, like, I do think going to Norman this year, playing Oklahoma, them coming to the SEC this year, that'll be a fun game. Having Alabama back in Neyland, that's going to be something to look forward to, and Florida as well. So we get to go back down to Athens this year for Georgia too. So got a lot of revenge planned out, and
yes, sir.
Week until then. So.
Redemption and revenge is the story this year. We got the young man with the ball in his hand. We're gonna see what happens. How has that been? Because there's obviously a lot of Nico hype, right, coming in. But with Heupel, you're going to have QB hype always. I feel like, being a QB himself. We saw Hendon, we saw Joe. It's been a lot of fun the last few years, that's for sure, with Josh at the helm. But this Nico thing feels different, and no disrespect to anybody else, but it just, as far as just the overall hype, man. And he's a kid. I mean, you're all kids to me because I'm an old man, but he's a kid, buddy. And he doesn't seem like that from the bowl game. Like, he doesn't seem like a kid, but he is. By age, he's a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's super humble kid. I love him to death. Doesn't have a bad word to say about anybody. A lot of those big prospects, and I'm not speaking for anybody or anything, but just experience, like, it's super easy for guys like that to come in and think they know it all, or, think they've got everything figured out. And Nico has not been that at all. He's been a sponge for information from everybody, wanting to learn every little thing about anything about the offense. And, it's just been super fun to be able to be in front of him and block. And obviously Citrus Bowl last year, we had fun whooping up on Iowa. So
yeah, that was a fun one.
That was fun. And then just being able to see him get his feet in the ground and sling the ball everywhere, run around, just have fun with him, have fun with everybody on the team, on the field that day. Super fun to see him get his career started, and looking forward to his year this year.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, buddy. Well, I can't thank you enough for doing this, dude. I two things, man. I hope we go undefeated. Okay. Calling that on LBL right here. I know it's a tough road, and bring us a natty. And two, after the season, we're going bass fishing. I'm going to come to East Tennessee, and we're going to go wintertime smallmouth fishing after, of course, in January, when you get to hoist that trophy, brother. Then we will go bass fishing. That's a deal right there.
Absolutely, man. Bring the Express up here. We'll bring the Ranger out. We'll We'll get on some mouth for sure.
We will get after them. Well, brother, I appreciate it. Go Vols, and good luck this season.
Hey, appreciate it. Go Vols.
Go Vols. Well, all right, that's all she wrote with the Vol for life right there. I appreciate y'all letting me take some liberties every now and then on a fishing podcast, man. I want to talk some fishing. I want to talk some football with the big man himself right there, Dayne Davis, and I appreciate him taking time out. They're in, as he described it, Hell Week right now, trying to get ready for the season. Nothing more intense, I think, than being on a squad for a major university. Can you even imagine, man? But such a fine young man right there, and I'm glad he took the time to talk some fishing, talk some football, and I hope y'all enjoyed that as much as I did. Y'all can tell I fanboy out a little bit. I love me some Tennessee Volunteers. Y'all know that. If you're a Florida fan, congratulations. Dayne said you got the loudest stadium. It's all fun, man. Love me some SEC. Love me some rivalries. Love me some crap talking. And we are back. We are back. It is almost here. So thanks to Dayne for doing that. And thanks to you, lowlifers, for tuning in each and every week. I know we had a lot to digest this week, but appreciate y'all hanging with me each and every week. I'll be back next week for some more low budget live. I'll take y'all with Biloxi Blues like always, and I'll see y'all down the road. See you.
From Jacksontown to Tupelo, I never could make it last. Spanish moss and Civil War ghosts, well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care. No, I don't care. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting